The fiery sword. The septenary is the sacred number in all theogonies and in all symbols, because it is composed of the triad and the tetrad. The number 7 represents magical power in all its fullness. It is the mind reinforced by all elementary potencies, it is the soul served by nature, it is the sanctum regnum mentioned in the Keys of Solomon and represented in the tarot by a crowned warrior, who bears a triangle on his cuirass and is posed upon a cube, to which 2 sphinxes are harnessed, straining in opposite directions, while their heads are turned the same way. This warrior is armed with a fiery sword and holds in his left hand a scepter surmounted by a triangle and a sphere. The cube is the philosophical stone. The sphinxes are the 2 forces of the great agent, corresponding to Jachin and Boaz, the 2 pillars of the temple. The cuirass is the knowledge of divine things, which renders the wise man invulnerable to human assaults. The scepter is the magic wand. The fiery sword is the symbol of victory over the deadly sins, 7 in number, like the virtues, the conceptions of both being typified by the ancients under the figures of the 7 planets then known. Thus, faith, that aspiration towards the infinite, that noble self-reliance sustained by confidence in all virtues, the faith which in weak natures may degenerate into pride, was represented by the sun, hope, the enemy of avarice; by the moon, charity, in opposition to luxury; by Venus, the bright star of morning and evening, strength, superior to wrath; by Mars, prudence, hostile to idleness; by Mercury, temperance, opposed to gluttony; by Saturn, who was given the stone instead of his children to devour; finally, justice, in opposition to envy; by Jupiter, the conqueror of the Titans. Such are the symbols borrowed by astronomy from the Hellenic cultures. In the Kabbalah of the Hebrews, the sun represents the angel of light, the moon, the angel of aspirations and dreams, Mars, the destroying angel, Venus, the angel of loves, Mercury, the angel of progress, Jupiter, the angel of power, Saturn, the angel of the wilderness. They were named also Michael, Gabriel, Samael, An, Raphael, Zachariel and Oriphael. These governing potencies of souls shared human life during successive periods, which astrologers measured by the revolutions of the corresponding planets. But Kabbalistic astrology must not be confounded with that which is called judicial. We will explain this distinction. Infancy is dedicated to the sun, childhood to the moon, youth to Mars and Venus, manhood to Mercury, ripe age to Jupiter, and old age to Saturn. Now, humanity in general subsists under laws of development analogous to those of individual life. On this basis Trithemius establishes his prophetic key of the 7 spirits, to which we shall refer subsequently, by means thereof, observing the analogical proportions of successive events, it is possible to predict important future occurrences with certitude, and to fix beforehand, from age to age, the destinies of nations and the world. St. John, depository of the secret doctrine of Christ, has commemorated this sequence in the Kabbalistic book of the Apocalypse, which he represents sealed with 7 seals. We meet also the 7 genii of ancient mythologies, and the cups and swords of the tarot. The doctrine concealed under these emblems is pure Kabbalah, already lost by the Pharisees at the time of Christ's advent. The scenes which succeed one another in this wonderful prophetic epic are so many particles, the keys of which are the ternary, the quaternary, the septenary and the duodenary. Its hieroglyphic figures are analogous to those of the Book of Hermes or the Genesis of Enoch, to make use of a tentative title which expresses merely the personal opinion of the erudite William Bostil. The cherub, or symbolic bull, which Moses placed at the gate of the Adamic world, bearing a fiery sword, is a sphinx, having a bull's body and a human head. It is the antique Assyrian sphinx, and the combat and victory of Mithras were its hieroglyphic analysis. Now, this armed sphinx represents the law of mystery which watches at the door of initiation to warn away the profane. Voltaire, who knew nothing of all this, was highly diverted at the notion of a bull brandishing a sword. What would he have said had he visited the ruins of Memphis and Thebes, and what would the echo of past ages which slumbers in the tombs of Ramesses have replied to those light sarcasms so much relished in France? The mosaic cherub represents also the great magical mystery, of which the elements are expressed by the septenary, without, however, giving the final word. This verbum and of the sages of the Alexandrian school, this word which Hebrew Kabbalists write 111 and interpret by Ararita, thus expressing the triplicity of the secondary principle, the dualism of means, the equal unity of the first and final principle, the alliance between the triad and the tetrad in a word composed of 4 letters, which forms 7 by means of a triple and double repetition. This word is pronounced Ararita. The virtue of the septenary is absolute in magic, for this number is decisive in all things, hence all religions have consecrated it in their rites. The 7th year was a jubilee among the Jews, the 7th day is set apart for rest and prayer, there are 7 sacraments, etc. The 7 colors of the prism and the 7 musical notes correspond also to the 7 planets of the ancients, that is, to the 7 chords of the human lyre. The spiritual heaven has never changed, and astrology has been more invariable than astronomy. The 7 planets are, in fact, the hieroglyphic symbols of the keyboard of our affections. To compose talismans of the Sun, Moon or Saturn, is to attach the will magnetically to signs corresponding to the chief powers of the soul. To consecrate something to Mercury or Venus is to magnetize that object according to a direct intention, whether pleasure, science or profit be the end in view. The analogous metals, animals, plants and perfumes are auxiliaries to this end. The 7 magical animals are, a. Among birds, corresponding to the divine world, the swan, the owl, the vulture, the dove, the stork, the eagle and the pewit, b. Among fish, corresponding to the spiritual or scientific world, the seal, the catfish, the pike, the mullet, the chub, the dolphin, the sepia or cuttlefish, c. Among quadrupeds, corresponding to the natural world, the lion, the cat, the wolf, the he-goat, the monkey, the stag and the mole. The blood, fat, liver and gall of these animals serve in enchantments, their brain combines with the perfumes of the planets, and it is recognized by ancient practice that they possess magnetic virtues corresponding to the 7 planetary influences. The talismans of the 7 spirits are engraved either on precious stones, such as the carbuncle, crystal, diamond, emerald, agate, sapphire and onyx, or upon metals, such as gold, silver, iron, copper, fixed mercury, pewter and lead. The Kabbalistic signs of the 7 spirits are, for the Sun, a serpent with the head of a lion, for the Moon, a globe divided by 2 crescents, for Mars, a dragon biting the hilt of a sword, for Venus, a lingam, for Mercury, the hermetic caduceus, ace and the cynocephalus, for Jupiter, the blazing pentagram in the talons or beak of an eagle, for Saturn, a lame and aged man, or a serpent curled about the Sun.